and my name is Mary Carnahan, and welcome to today's webinar, Collaboration Central. I am the eLearning Resource Specialist with the Indiana Department of Education, Office of eLearning, and I'm happy to be hosting this webinar today. Actually, I'm just introducing this webinar today, and then I'm going to pass it on to Molly Yole in just a few minutes. But I'm going to start with some housekeeping stuff and get us started. So if you're hearing my voice, that means that you got through all the directions to get connected to the audio, and everybody was muted as they entered the call. Please leave your line muted so that we don't have background noise as we're going through the webinar. We do have the chat window open, so if you have questions, please share them in the chat box. Also, use that as a back channel conversation tool also. If you've got places that you're going to find digital content, or if you have other things to share, please feel free to use that for sharing and for questions throughout the call today. We'll have just hopefully a meaningful conversation in the background while Molly is sharing in the webinar. And I think that is all on my first slide. So just to share a couple of other professional development opportunities that we have coming up, we have webinars, typically 2 a month, so be watching for those topics coming out on a pretty regular basis. Our next webinar is 2 weeks from yesterday, September 19th. The topic will be eLearning Coach Community to the Rescue. So that webinar is really going to be geared toward our eLearning coaches in the state of Indiana. So if you are in that capacity in your school, or if that's just something that you want to learn more about, maybe if you are a classroom teacher but you're doing some professional development, maybe you're wearing that hat also in your school, you might participate in that webinar and take away some great things to use in your school. And then, like I said, we've got more webinars coming up, so just keep watching our Twitter handle. We'll be sharing those things there and also on our website, which I've shared there on the screen. Twitter, I mentioned, we have a really great network in the state utilizing the eLearn hashtag. Be sure you're using that to connect to other Indiana educators who are utilizing technology. And we are using that handle and doing weekly Twitter chats. And this month is digital, we're focusing on digital citizenship this month. So be sure to check out the Twitter chats this month around that topic. Those are always Thursday nights at 9 p.m. Eastern. And this is just a little information about Digital Citizenship Week. That is next week, Indiana Digital Citizenship Week. We have lots of things going on. Michelle Green is spearheading that, so she has put together a lot of great things. I have put a short URL here on the screen, and I will post that, the URL to the Digital Citizenship website in the chat box in just a little bit. But if you want to write down that bit.ly, you can, or grab the long URL here in a few minutes. But definitely check out that website, check out the resources that are available and the activities that will be coming up next week around Digital Citizenship Week. There's a lot of great stuff going on. And one thing that I forgot to include in my introduction here is our book club. We do 3 book clubs a year, and we have a new one coming up starting next week. So I will include in the chat window some information about that. So if you are interested in getting some PGP points to use towards your license renewal, and also to get some great anytime professional development, that book club is, you participate in your pajamas at night after you've finished your school homework or whenever you're able to. So I will include information on that in the chat box in just a few minutes. But for now, I am going to turn it over to Molly Yoel. Molly is a classroom teacher in Danville, but also is our digital content guru in the Office of eLearning, and she does a lot of work with teachers around the state creating digital content, locating digital content. So she's going to talk about those things, and then she's also going to share Amazon Inspire, the long-awaited Amazon Inspire. So I am going to make Molly the presenter. One thing to note as we're changing presenters here, like I said, use that chat window as a conversation piece. Make sure that you select everyone from that send to drop down. And if you already had done that, it might have just changed it to Molly to send to. So just make sure that you send to everyone so that everybody can see that those messages. If you ask questions throughout, Molly will be looking at the chat box. But if she misses something, I'll make note of it, and then we can touch on it at the end if anything is missed. So, Molly, I'm turning it over to you.
All right. Thanks, Mary. Can you hear me okay?
I can. You're on.
Awesome. Well, welcome, everyone. Thank you for joining us for the eLearn and Amazon Inspire webinar. We are super excited to share the platform with you and highlight some of its great features. I shared in the chat box to everyone the presentation that I'm going to show. I'm going to start in the presentation, leave it, and go to a demo of Amazon Inspire, and then come back to it. But there are a few links and pieces of information that might be beneficial to you, so take it and make a copy of it to take notes if you want, or use it at your will. Please, if you're sharing out information regarding this webinar or even later on, make sure that you tag hashtag eLearn and the Amazon EDU handle. And if you have follow-up questions following the webinar, make sure you find me on Twitter at Molly Yoel, or I provided my email address as well. All right, so we're going to start with a little bit of just history, background of eLearn relationship with Amazon Inspire and kind of how we got to where we are today. So for about 3 to 4 years now, my focus with the Office of eLearning has been around digital content curation. And I think sometimes the idea of curating your own content and kind of leaving the safety of your traditional textbooks and resources is somewhat intimidating to some people. And it is a lot of work, so it's often overwhelming to many of us. But I like to keep it simple and break it down into, a 4-step process and just reassure teachers that it is a process. It does take time. It's not something you're not going to make that digital transition in a school year or even 2. Start with a lesson, start with a unit, start with supplemental pieces, and don't get overwhelmed. But most importantly, when you sit down at your computer and you're looking for those supplemental pieces to pull in more relevant, timely digital content and resources, or to create your first lesson or unit, make sure that you always have in mind who is your audience. So what is this particular class or student that I'm, looking to provide resources for? Who are they? What are their needs? And then what is the end learning goal? What am I trying to get my students to learn or to know or to explore or to apply, with this resource that I'm searching for? So pretty simple: search, vet, shape, and share. Don't forget that share part at the end, because Indiana is a Go Open state. We are trying to encourage others to join the Go Open movement, which basically says we're going to start replacing our traditional resources and paid content with open educational resources that are free for others to take and use and remix and adapt and then share back out with other people. So that is the goal. A lot of this I already spoke to, but I've mentioned the Go Open movement, which Indiana has been a part of since February of 2016, and basically it means that we are going to house digital content into a space where others can access it, and for us that is Amazon Inspire, and then we will also offer support through workshops, webinars like today. We've had 2 Go Open Summits. We just had one last Wednesday at East Noble, and we're looking for other districts to host if anyone's interested. We would love to do a spring summit where districts can come together and bring teams of teachers and curriculum directors and tech folks and learn about the Go Open movement and how your district can become a Go Open district. So I did provide a link to our digital content creation page. It kind of talks about our journey, how we got to where we are, and some of the programs that we offer to support digital content curation, and more specifically the Go Open movement, which is a movement that started at the U.S. Department of Education. And we have 3 Indiana Go Open districts, and we would love to get some more. So a lot of people say, why Go Open, why make this transition? And really it's these 5 points to increase equity, to provide relevant and high quality content for our students. You know, that is up to date, that is applicable to their lives and something that they understand and experience. Teacher empowerment and freedom, this is my favorite one as a classroom teacher. I like having the freedom to use digital content, and especially OER, because I can remix it and adapt it however I need to fit my students' needs. Potentially, you know, there's some cost savings. I like to also say here maybe just a transfer of costs. So instead of potentially spending money on paid content or textbooks, I feel like it's better to invest in teachers and to take that money and to offer support for your teachers and professional learning around digital content curation and other professional learning opportunities for them. And then collaboration. If we're all sharing, then it makes the load a lot easier because, like I said earlier, it is a big task to take on to make that transition from traditional to digital, and it is a process. And if we all do it and are sharing and are helping one another, then the task becomes a little less daunting. I've mentioned that we only have 3 Indiana Go Open districts and would love to get more to sign on, just to basically commit to say that they are going to contribute and to share on this journey with us. And I bet a lot of districts are already doing this and they just don't realize it. So super simple. You have to identify a district team, commit to replace at least 1 textbook with OER in the next year, which, as I said, many teachers are probably doing that in their classrooms already, and then document and share your process. There is a wonderful resource called the District Launch Packet that the US DOE and other nonprofit organizations that support this have put together. So if you're interested in learning a little bit more, please check that out. You know, send it to your curriculum director or your tech director or your coach in your building or your district and say, hey, let's learn more about this. So I've mentioned that we have been working with Amazon Inspire for 2 years now. Indiana has been supporting this content curation for the last, like I said, 4 or 5 years, and many of you probably remember when many of us used My Big Campus, and it had this great library, and we had all sorts of vetted resources in there, and we had all these teacher-created bundles that had been created through grant offerings and programs that we at the state offered, and then it shut its doors, and we needed a place to house our content. At that time, Amazon had announced that they were going to create this digital content repository that was going to be free and open, and we were interested. So for 2 years now, we've been working with Amazon. They have been a great partner for us, and we have content into the repository, and we will continue to add content, both past content that was curated and vetted, and then future content as well. They have kind of been in beta for the last year because of some copyright issues when it first launched last summer. But over the last year, they've made some really amazing improvements, including copyright checks that get put in place when teachers upload content to the platform, and then other checks for content, like objectionable content checks for like language and pictures, and then enhancement to their search functionality, and then just a general customer experience. What we loved as a team about Amazon Inspire, the content repository, was that it was just super familiar to everyone, because it is very much like shopping online for shoes or your groceries if you're, an Amazon Prime Now customer. So it was just really familiar. We had a lot of confidence in the company, Amazon itself, and felt like they had the potential to do a lot of great things to help education. They are an official supporter of the Go Open movement, and we thought it would be great to pair with them. So we have been working with them and slowly getting content into the platform, and I will share that with you guys now. The next slide will give you a direct link to Amazon Inspire, or you can just do a quick Google search. Amazon has a similar kind of process that I suggested earlier. You're going to find content, you're going to vet it, you're going to collect it, which in Amazon Inspire means you're going to organize it into folders for our own sanity's sake, and then shape it. If it's an open resource that allows that, use it. And then, of course, we're all familiar with the Amazon review system, so we can rate it based on stars, or we can give it a written review as well. So I think you guys are really going to enjoy that feature, and I think that's going to be useful to us teachers as we're going into the platform and reading reviews and filtering. I only want to look at 3 or 4 star resources because that's going to help us quickly vet content. All right, let's dig in. So this is the Amazon Inspire homepage. If you haven't created an account for Amazon Inspire, your page is going to look a little different when you first go there. You are going to have to sign up with an email address. You can choose to use an already existing Amazon account. So if you have a personal Gmail account that you use and you have an Amazon account attached to that email address, you can use that to create your Amazon Inspire account if you want. Or you can create a new account with your school email address if you want to kind of have that distinct line between professional and personal. You are going to have to select your school district just so they know who you're affiliated with, and then from there the process is super easy. I've already created my account, so I don't have that screen. If any of you would have questions as to how to create that account when you go in there and you kind of get stuck, then please take my contact info and send me an email or a message on Twitter, and I'll help you get that worked out. All right, so this is all new as of last Tuesday, I think. The homepage, they have this cute image in the background, but you'll probably recognize, like I said, the platform and its feel, especially when we dig in and start searching. So whenever you want to go home back to this page, you can just click that left-hand Amazon Inspire icon, and then it is pretty basic from there. They have a wonderful FAQ section if you go to that with great links and resources, everything from creating an account to selecting the appropriate Creative Commons license to attach to a resource that you're trying to upload, also about accessibility and how you ensure that the resources that you're sharing and uploading are accessible to all students. So just a wealth of information on that FAQ page. I've spent some time just filtering through and just learning some really cool stuff. So I would highly suggest that you take some time. Even if you don't have a question, check it out, and I bet you'll learn something. You can provide feedback, general feedback here by sharing an idea or reporting an issue. They are very receptive to taking customer feedback. And then I'll show you also within an individual resource, you can report an issue there as well. If for some reason a video won't work or a link is dead, there's a couple different ways to share feedback or collaborate with Amazon. And they include an email address for you there. Once you actually create your account, you'll notice you'll recognize that familiar gear, so you can go find your settings and your account information. I won't dig into that too much because there's not too much there to play with. But if you have questions, like I said, please let me know. The familiar upload button, the familiar plus sign, especially those like Google Classroom users, you'll recognize that plus sign. It just means add something, right, or create something. And then I have access from this home screen to view my content, which I'll show you in a minute. So what I love about this homepage is it shows me recently viewed resources or collections that I've searched for and dug into. So if for some reason I accidentally close out my tab or I want to get back to a resource that I didn't save, I can quickly find it under this recently viewed. So that's super helpful. I'm going to show you how to search for content, how to filter for content, how to create a collection. And there's a couple different ways to do these actions, I guess. So I'm going to, share it in the way that makes sense to me. And then if you guys have questions, feel free to ask. I am not looking at the chat window at this moment, but I will get back to it in a few minutes. All right, so from the home screen, you can just do a general search here for all the resources in the repository, or you can go ahead and filter down to a specific content area here. I'm just going to start off, and I'm going to pretend that I'm not a high school English teacher today, and that I am an elementary teacher who teaches English and math and science and social studies all in one day. And because I want to do something relevant, create a relevant unit in my classroom, I am going to search for hurricanes. And positive thoughts to all of our friends in Florida, too. We have a lot of friends there, so I'm not trying to be insensitive. All right, so timely, the topic of hurricanes. Kids are interested. They want to know more about hurricanes. Since I'm an elementary teacher, I'm just going to search. Once I do the hurricane search, you'll see I have 13 results. I'm going to go ahead and filter down K to 2 and then 3 to 5 because I want to see in that range what content is available. Once I filter grade level, I could start vetting from there. I'm going to go ahead and select a specific one already because I cheated a little bit. I've already checked it out. So I'm going to check out the content literacy science, extreme weather overview and resources. And you'll notice here, it'll tell you what type of resource that each item is. So this is an online resource, as are these, and this is a document. This could be a PDF or something similar. All right. I think this is the one I want. I'm going to choose this one. I see that this was shared by the Massachusetts DOE, who is a Department of Ed that is sharing some OER resources. I'm going to make the assumption that because it's from the Massachusetts DOE, right, I'm putting my teacher expert lens on here, that it might be worth checking out. The nice thing about when a document is uploaded into Amazon Inspire is I don't have to download it in order to look at it because sometimes a document may not be worth downloading and saving. So let me preview this real quick, and then I can take a look at it. It gives me a quick snapshot, and I can see that it has the Creative Commons license on it, and I can read through the document and the resource and see if I want to download it. I can download it directly from this screen, or I can exit out of the preview screen, and I can download it from here. Let's say I'm a teacher and I am an elementary teacher teaching about hurricanes, and I do not have a collection created for this unit yet. So I'm going to create a collection, and instead of having to create it from here from scratch and then come back and find this and add this resource, I can actually create the collection directly from this resource, and it will automatically put this resource into that collection. So one way to create a collection, aside from just going up here, is within a resource, and I can just select Add the Collection, and you see I can create a new collection right here. I could also add it to a previously created collection as well. So I'm going to create a new collection. You'll see that I have 2 tabs. I have a private option if I want this collection to be private just to myself, or I have a public option. Now, because I'm all about sharing, and Indiana is a Go Open state, I'm always going to suggest that you choose that public tab because we want to share the content that we've curated and the resources that we've added and organized together with everyone else to make their lives easier, and hope that in turn they'll do the same and will benefit from their work as well. I know one reason that someone might choose private is A, you don't want to publish something yet that's not complete, or B, maybe you're going to use Amazon Inspire Collections as kind of a bookmarking site for you at first until you get more comfortable navigating it. So if you want to do that, you can choose private, and then you can actually go back in and edit it and make it public and publish it when you're comfortable to do so. So I'm going to make it public. You'll notice by the asterisk that there are some required information that I have to provide before I can create my collection. So I'm going to just create hurricane unit, unit for K-5, about hurricanes. And because I'm a K-5 teacher, I'm going to select multiple grade levels. I can do one, I can do multiple, and then from there, I can choose to do a subject. I'm going to, let's say that I took a closer dig at this resource and I noticed that it's going to meet ELA science and social studies standards. I can go ahead and select all of those. If you notice here, I can even drop down and filter even more and select a specific social studies group and continue on from there. I'm just going to select those, and then I can provide educational standards. Currently, we have the Common Core, Next Generation Science, Virginia Standards of Learning, and the Florida Standards. The Indiana standards are currently not in the platform, but they are on the list and will be in the future. So for now, what I'm asking is that you don't put a specific standard here unless maybe you do have the equivalent Common Core or the Next Generation Science. But rather as a keyword, if you could put that standard in here, if you have a specific standard, type it in as keyword, or we are tagging all of our content with I and eLearn for now, and any other keywords that are relevant. So you'll notice that this resource that I'm currently looking at says add. It already has a check mark. So it's automatically going to put that resource that I'm looking at into that collection, but I can also go to recently viewed ones if I looked at something earlier and I can select it and add it or unadd it, or I can go to my resources. So maybe yesterday I found a really great hurricane resource and I haven't added it to anything yet, and I want to go back and find that and add it to this collection. But for now, I'm just going to add that one, and I'm going to create my collection. It tells me that my collection is created, and then I can actually go view it by going to my content. And you'll notice if I go to my content, it's broken down into two sections. My resources, so published resources, pending approval, all unpublished, required information, or blocked, and then collections. So you'll notice that my hurricane unit I have here, and it's being processed. A really cool thing that I like about creating the collection is once I create a collection inside of Amazon Inspire, they're going to give me this email. They're going to send me an email, and it's going to say, hi, Molly, or whoever. Your collection is now live and available. Thank you for sharing. If you have questions, please contact us. So in a few minutes, in a couple hours, I will get, I don't think it'll be a couple hours, mine are usually really quick. I will get an email that says your hurricane unit collection has been created. You can access it here. So that's pretty cool, I think. And you'll notice that easily I can, as the owner, delete a collection, or I can add resources to a collection. So pretty cool. Right now, I'm actually signed into our eLearn account. You will have your own account that's attached to your personal or school email, whichever you choose when you create it. So keep that in mind. Who can see it and what they didn't see. So I showed you how to do a search just from this home screen, just a keyword or topic, and then add a collection directly from that resource and add it. So let me show you how to do another search, and then I'll show you how to add it to a collection that's already created. So I'm going to take off my elementary hat because I'm done teaching my hurricane unit, and I'm going to go to a high school English teacher because that's what I am by trade, and I actually teach advanced comp. So this is going to be self-serving a little bit. I'm going to search claims and evidence because that's a lot of the type of writing that we do in advanced comp. You'll notice that when I do a general search for claims and evidence, I come up with 891 search results that have been tagged keyword with claims and evidence. That's a little overwhelming. I might as well, go to a Google page and search that and filter through. But because I have these awesome filters in Amazon Inspire, I'm going to choose 9th and 12th grade. I'm going to go ahead and leave all of these checked because I want to see what comes up. Then I'm going to filter English language arts. So it's breaking it down. I've removed 500 options at this point. And then I'm going to filter even more, and I'm going to choose content format. But I don't want you to forget that there's also these other filters down below where you can, if you're a district that does DOK and you do depth of knowledge, and a resource has been tagged with that, you can search it you can filter on that. Maybe you're looking for a resource type, assessment versus instruction. Maybe you want to select only 4-star or up, or maybe you want to search by license. So I only want to search items that have the Creative Commons attribution only because I want a really open license where I can take that resource and adapt it. So I just wanted to show that there are these more filter options down here on the left. And because I'm not focused on a specific standard right now because the Indiana standards aren't on there yet, I do want to drill down and I want to only look for online resources that I can go and use or my kids can go and use. So that has taken me from 800 and some to 51. I could drill down a little bit more if I wanted to, but for now I'm going to use this. Let's say I'm going to, I forgot to write down the one that I wanted to highlight because I was rushed earlier. So I'm just going to choose one. I haven't fully vetted it yet, but it's from the Literacy Design Collaborative, which is an organization that's added content. It is tagged with English language arts along with social studies and science. It is an instruction assessment, and it is created or tagged for 8 through 12. So I'm going to check it out. I can either select here or I can directly do an open link because it's an online resource. It always opens a new tab for me, so I can open it up directly from here, like I said, and I can kind of get that snapshot view. I love it because it has the license there, it has the author there. This one doesn't have a review yet, so if I want to see even more, I can either select open link here or here. It's going to open it up in a new browser tab, and it's going to take me to that online resource so I can check it out. This is well organized. This looks like a lesson that I can take and pull ideas and materials from. So I'm going to go back to my tab, and I want to add this to a collection. If you remember, I can create a new collection, but because I teach advanced comp, I already have an advanced comp collection created. So I'm just going to select advanced comp, and I'm going to select add to collection, and it tells me my resource was added to the collection. And I bet if I go here to my content and I look at my collection, I can choose my public collection, go to advanced comp, and then I'll find that resource within that collection. And you can add resources to multiple collections. You can open them directly from here and organize them as well. You can trash them. And then add, like I said earlier, recently viewed or my resources directly from here as well. One thing I do want to highlight is, like I said, our team has been working with Amazon to get previously vetted materials and resources that we had pulled from My Big Campus and from work of the Rockstars of Curation over the last couple of years. And Amazon has been working in the background while their upload feature was down, adding content for us. Currently, you'll notice that we have 539 digital resources or collections added in Amazon Inspire, and you'll notice down here if I break it down, 24 collections to be exact, 515 resources. So if you just want to see what our network has added and contributed to Amazon Inspire, you can just search eLearn and filter down from there, depending on what you teach or what your need is. I'll show you the upload resource very quickly. So I am going to, I think all my stuff got closed out on accident. So I'm going to go to some mini lessons that our Rockstars of Curation created over the last year or so. We received a Library of Congress grant, or a Teaching with Primary Sources grant that focuses on using primary sources from the Library of Congress, which fits perfectly in with the Go Open movement. And so as part of that training, teachers created, you're seeing all their wonderful names, teachers created content around primary source documents and materials. So I'm going to start slowly adding those into Amazon Inspire. And they created them all on Google Docs in a particular format. They have a similar outline to the lesson that we used to set up in the bundles in My Big Campus. So I love it. They have titles, overviews, goals, objectives, even questions and times recommended, standards, and then they have materials that are used. So they have direct links to videos, maybe that was used as an anticipatory set, and then the link to like the Library of Congress primary source, and then the procedures of teaching this mini lesson. So because these were created by our teachers, I'm going to just add them into Amazon Inspire for everyone else to use. So when I go to upload, I can either drag and drop resources here or browse my computer, which you're all familiar with that process, I'm sure. So the neat thing here is all I have to do is copy and paste a URL. And the other neat thing is I can add multiple URLs at a time, so I don't have to individually go in and add 20 different links. I can just copy and paste them all, and then it'll let me fill out the metadata for each one individually as I go along. So I'm just going to add that one, and I'm going to select OK. It's going to work its magic. And then you'll notice this page. It's going to put the resource there. It's going to allow me to start filling in the content, the description information. So I'm going to change the title, and then because our teachers did an awesome job creating these mini lessons, all I have to do for this is copy and paste. Now, if you're uploading a resource that you created, you're going to have to obviously, on the spot, type in this information and give the appropriate information for that particular resource. This was created, I don't know if she had pre-K and first grade. So I can select that. And then what did Stacy create this for? Social studies and language arts. So I can go more specific, or I can just choose social studies and language arts here. And then here's the thing that Amazon has been working on over the last year is making sure that when teachers upload content, that they are respecting the copyright of others and that they are adding stuff responsibly. And so because our teachers, through kind of our grant work, created this content, I know that we're going to put a really open license on it. So I'm going to choose the CC attribution, which is the really open license that says others can distribute, remix, tweak, and build upon your work as long as they credit you. Also, there's the Amazon Inspire custom license if you're interested in exploring that. Others can use it in their classrooms for educational purposes. They cannot distribute or alter your work. And then the thing you need to pay attention to also for this Amazon custom license is you're only supposed to select this license if you are actually the creator or the publisher of it. So keep that in mind. I really love this. read the full terms of the license. So if you're like, well, I don't know what license I should put, they have a whole host of information about Creative Commons licensing and kind of the do's and don'ts of licensing. So I'm going to choose CC attribution. I'm going to give Stacy credit. So if you're filling this out, you would fill that out appropriately. She does have some educational resources attached, but the Indiana ones aren't in there to select, so right now I'm just going to grab one and put it as a keyword, and then I'm going to keyword eLearn, and I'm going to save my changes, and I can scroll through quickly. I can add in all of this non-required metadata like time to complete, instructional method, target audience, depth of knowledge if I'm a DOK district, and I love this, contributors and other information, accessibility. So once I have the required information and all that I want to share on there, I can choose to publish, and it makes me, again, I confirm that I've authored or selected resources or have the rights to share them. I can learn more again if I'm still not sure, and then I can confirm once I feel good about publishing that resource to Amazon Inspire. You'll notice that it says here it's pending, and that just means it's being processed for publication. So making sure that I'm allowed to add that there. The neat thing is if you add multiple resources at a time through that upload digital resource and post multiple URLs, you can select one to edit or multiple ones at the same time there to make it easy for you. So now if I go to my content, you will notice if I go to resources, I have one pending approval, and it's going to show me that resource again. So kind of cool. And then once it's confirmed, it will not be pending. The hope is that it's in the publish section. So let me go back real quick to the presentation just because there's a lot of really great contributors to Amazon Inspire. Right now there's broken down, I shared this with you on the slide, K-3 content contributors, so Massachusetts DOE, who was a Go Open state, has added a lot of content with Open Creative Commons licensing. These are school districts, Santa Ana Unified, Vista Unified, and then there's some other contributors like SeaWorld, Literacy Design Collaborative, 10 Marks, which is a company of Amazon who has added content. You'll notice it's broken down also into ELA contributors and then Go Open districts and states that you can search. And like I mentioned, you can go directly into Amazon Inspire and let's say I want to search all that Vista Unified has included. All I need to do is search Vista Unified. It'll show me they have 233 items, and then I can filter down from there depending on what I'm looking for. So that's just a good snapshot of all of the contributors so far, and then a list of Amazon Inspire publishers as well that Jill Florent, one of our very good friends from Amazon who we work closely with, she actually created this collection around the publishers that have contributed. So Action Publishing, A-List Education, Advanced Path Academics, BioBuilder, which has super cool content for science, and all sorts of other, the Buck Institute, Common Sense Education. So a lot of great content added by publishers, and you can just search that as well, Amazon Inspire Publishers, and find that there. This would be, I'm sure, really helpful. I'm sure your teachers and colleagues would love it if you shared this with them, so maybe they would have some focus when they went into Amazon Inspire because, oh, I know Massachusetts DOE has added a lot of elementary content. I'm going to see what that looks like. All right, let me see if there's anything in the chat because that's a lot of information. Mary shared a lot of our PD opportunities. Welcome. Randy says if OER is always up to date, who is updating the teacher who originally published or the remixing teacher? If there are remixes of remixes out there, won't there eventually be outdated material? Yeah, and I think that's where the rating system, if we're talking specifically inside of Amazon Inspire, where that comes in. Because if you're on a resource, and let's say something has a video that is linked in there is no longer working or has been taken down or a link is dead, you can do a report an issue and select the reason and then provide that feedback to Amazon Inspire. The hope is that because Amazon's review system is familiar to all of us, that we will actually take advantage of that piece, that component in the system, and that it'll kind of be like a self-controlled. And yes, you're right. There's content that we, vetted 4 years ago, and at this point, it's dead, it's irrelevant. There's more timely stuff. So yes, it's a process. We're constantly going to be adding and taking away content because there's always different stuff, more stuff available. Stuff goes away, stuff shows up. But good question, Randy, you were right. So I think it's the job of all of us, and that's the goal inside of Amazon Inspire, is that it's a community, and we're all going to help kind of filter that and vet that. Any other questions? I think we have some Amazon friends on the call as well today, so if maybe there's something you'd like me to show that I didn't, you could shoot me a chat message real quick. I feel like I talked a lot, but it's only 4:45. I think the beauty of Amazon Inspire is that it is super easy to navigate and user-friendly to all of us because, like I said, the home screen is really familiar, or the filter screen is really familiar, and I don't know anyone that hasn't shopped on Amazon before. So I love the filters, and don't forget to drop down and do show all the filters. That way you can really break it down. My son's a 4th grader who's doing 5th grade math this year, and I don't think I know how to do 5th grade math, at least not the way that they teach it nowadays, because there's some stuff I'm like, no, you don't do it like that. So it was really cool the other day I got on, and I was searching 5th grade math resources, and I was like, I'm going to have some videos for this kid because I don't know how to teach him the way that they're teaching it these days. So I was able to break it down into, his content area, his grade level, and then I was able to break it down into video and only filter the results for videos and see what math videos were available for 5th graders. So I'm like, all right, there's some hope. Yeah, there's also digital citizenship resources in here as well, and I think I mentioned a contributor on that slide. Common Sense has added stuff as well. Didn't I say that? Did I not? Mary, help me out. Did I say that? Yeah, Common Sense Media Education. I thought Common Sense did contribute content, and I thought I saw that on there. Yeah, so if I go to Common Sense Education, that's super relevant because it's digital citizenship next week in Indiana. So please share with your colleagues that there are a ton of resources on Amazon Inspire that were added and shared by Common Sense Education that you can quickly grab and use in your classroom. Any other questions? Mary, did you see any that I missed?
No, there were not any others received.
All right. Well, to close, I'll just say that we are going to continue this work at the state level. Like I said, my focus has been on digital content curation for the last 4 or more years. With the state, we host the Rock Focus Curation Cohort, which they are meeting throughout the school year face-to-face in person, getting professional development around this topic. They meet virtually. They get work days where they just get to spend time vetting and creating quality content to share out. So all of that is going to be added into Amazon Inspire. And please know that Amazon Inspire is not intended to be a learning management system. They are a content repository that is free for all of us to use. So, you know, you will be going into Amazon Inspire instead of going to Google because you can filter so much better, and you're going to love the vetting system through the reviews and filtering. So go there first and create your collections, make them public, benefit from others, and then once you create those collections around that unit or topic or standard, that's when you'll pull that content into your learning management system and organize it and, you know, complete the workflow, you know, resource to student, student back to teacher. So this is not intended to support the workflow. This is just a place for teachers to go to find quality resources and to share with one another, and then you'll pull it into your district learning management system. Because Indiana doesn't have a common one anymore, so this is our common place to share. And make sure if you do start uploading content that you vetted and that you've created, that you tag it in that keyword with eLearn, and as best you can include that Indiana standard in there as well. And that is all I have for you guys. Let me make sure no one else. Nope. Okay. Well, 9 minutes to go. So you dedicated teachers that stayed after school, we'll let you go and get back to doing your thing. And we at the Office of eLearning appreciate everything that you guys do to support students in Indiana and one another. And thank you to Amazon Inspire for all their great work and for this wonderful free repository that we can reap the benefits of. Thank you, Mary.
And thank you, Molly, for the great information, and hope to see you all back for a future Office of eLearning Learning Lab webinar. Have a great night.
All right. Thanks, everybody.